So Jeep has released information about the new 2026 Cherokee, a vehicle I believe they absolutely have to get right. But, well, what's my thoughts on it? Well, we're going to talk about the exterior, the interior, and the powertrain today. Welcome back to All Cars Reacts to New Car News. I am John, and I do believe the Cherokee is a vehicle they have to get right. I had an original XJ Cherokee, somewhere around 98 model, something like that, and that model became a legend. It was unbelievable off-road, and with that 4-liter inline-six, it was really reliable. It is a modern classic. Well, Jeep replaced it with the Liberty in 2 different generations, or technically Daimler replaced it, and that was a little bit porky and a little leaned into the cute side. And then Jeep came out with another Cherokee, the squinty-eyed Cherokee, which felt a little bit like you were driving around in a World War II bunker, or as one of my Jeep friends said, it was an abomination to the Cherokee name. So I do believe Jeep needs to get this right. So how did they do? Well, this is coming out in 2026, and Jeep is starting to give us some information about it. There's some missing here, but on the outside, I really like how this thing looks. It looks like they forgot about the Liberty and the last generation Cherokee, and they went back to the original and said, what if we'd updated it to 2026? I love the squared off headlights. I love the traditional Jeep grille. Down the side, I think it's got a very Jeep Cherokee profile with the little bevels around the windows as well. And around the back, I actually think it's got a little bit of Discovery, maybe Discovery Sport in the styling. Overall, I think it looks great. Now, we don't have any dimensions about the vehicle, but it looks, well, kind of on the small side. On the inside, well, they've gone with a very contemporary and modern approach. We've got a 10.25-inch color digital instrument cluster and a 12.3-inch infotainment screen with, of course, Uconnect 5, which allows you to play Sudoku, apparently. Rain-sensing wipers, emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, all the goodies that people expect in today's world. And, unfortunately, they have moved to one of the rotary gear selectors, which I absolutely despise. And there's a ton of options that come. There are 4 different trim levels for the new Cherokee: the base Cherokee, the Laredo, the Limited, and the Overland. And some of the options they have are a dual-pane sunroof, 360-degree camera, digital rear-view mirror, heated rear seats, ventilated front seats, windshield wiper de-icer, front tire-to-curb view, turn signal activated blind spot, premium audio, Alexa, in-vehicle assistant. I kind of like all of that. So in terms of modern, they've nailed it. In terms of interior, I think they've updated it, even if it's a little more than I would want. But then we get to the powertrain. So thankfully for the Jeep faithful, they've looked back at their history. They've looked at that 4-liter inline-six that provides gobs of torque and great reliability. And they've said what the new Cherokee needs is a 1.6-liter turbo 4-cylinder hybrid. Yes, they've moved to a hybrid design. Now, I'm not automatically opposed to a hybrid. They give tons of torque at low RPMs. And this one, they say it will give 37 miles per gallon in mixed driving with more than 500 miles of range. Love this, with a front and a rear electric motor, with a total of 210 horsepower and 230 pound-feet of torque. And unfortunately, that's where this whole thing starts to fall apart. If you've got a legendary 4x4 and you introduce this, well, you've got to get it right. So they actually say one of their powertrain standards is the Jeep ActiveDrive 1 4x4 system with standard rear axle disconnect. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Until you realize that ActiveDrive 1 has no low range. So it's not a 4x4. It's all-wheel drive. Now, they are not discounting that at some point in the future they'll have upgraded versions, more trail-ready versions, but this is not a replacement for the Cherokee. This is an all-wheel drive, maybe compact, sport utility with a hybrid powertrain. With that in mind, its comparison is not the original Cherokee. So I did a quick look here, and comparing this to some other off-road oriented vehicles, the Land Cruiser makes 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. The Bronco, 300 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. So the Cherokee is much more competitive with a CR-V hybrid, which makes 204 horsepower, or I'm going to say the new Cherokee, unfortunately and crushingly, compares favorably with a Subaru Forester. It makes more power. The premium hybrid Forester makes 118 horsepower and 199 foot-pounds of torque. So it does way better than that, but it still has no four-wheel drive. It has no true off-road rock crawling ability. Will Jeep add that in the future? I kind of suspect so. But right now, they've taken the Cherokee name and just like some, well, no, even worse than some previous generations, they've bastardized it. And now they're coming out with something that's truly just an all-wheel drive hybrid. Anybody could have done this. I'm extremely disappointed, and that's before we start to talk about Stellantis' quality, reliability, and their penchant for cheapening things down and raising the price up. I will say that this is going to be rather affordable with destination included. This is starting at just over $36,000, just under $37,000, which puts it competitively with the CR-V and the Subaru. And that tells you where it's placed in the marketplace. I'm going to reserve my final judgment until I have a chance to look at one, see one, touch one in person, and if they come out with real four-wheel drive capability on this. But right now, I'm extremely disappointed with Jeep. Yet another Jeep I'm extremely disappointed with. When do you say you're not a Jeep fan anymore? Thanks for being here and spending a few minutes with me, y'all.